You're welcome to the video which entails steps we can involve to pass our exams. So passing your exams, the do's and then the don'ts. First off, let's start to discuss the purpose for which you write exams. Now some of the purpose for which you write exams in education includes the following. For selection, that is, assuming we want to select some group of people to partake in certain things, we can decide to conduct an examination. Secondly, for grading or grouping purposes. Now this applies to those who attend tertiary institutions. At the end of the day, their semester results, they give them grades, and this also applies to these BEC and what that we write. So at the end of the day, we have students who are giving grade A to a certain criteria that is defined by the exam body. Also, we have placement. So if you look at what we do, for the example, the BEC is we use it for placement purpose too, because at the end of the day, they base on the results to do the school placement. So that is for placement aspect. Then we also have for certification. So at the end of the day, the BEC2 or OSC are given a certificate. The same applies to a group of courses which is carried out in other institutions. That is to certify that you have undergone some form of training. So certification is also one of the purposes for examination. Now much attention will be given to BEC and that of OSC. So if we look at all these four purposes of examination, the major ones, it cuts across, because your result will help you select your schools, and then the results are also graded. Then based on your results are also placed, and you also have a BEC certificate. So it cuts across. Now, in order to pass your exams, there are certain things you must note. There are some of them, those factors you can control, others you cannot control. So those ones that you can control are those factors that covers what the candidate, that is you writing the exams, has some form of impact on or effect on. This means that you can do something about them to facilitate your success. So those ones are actually internal factors, and then we have those ones that you cannot do much about or you cannot do anything about, and those ones are usually external factors. So let's go ahead to see. You realize that for the things that you cannot control, some of them include your health condition, the nature of the exam hall, nature of what on the exam day, the sitting position of the particular with particular reference to the type of chair allocated to the candidate. So it might be that you might do all your preparations that is needed, but on the said day you may fall ill. That can affect your performance. The nature of the exam hall can also affect your performance. Probably there may be insufficient lighting in the room. The room may be too dark for you to see, read well. Nature of the weather on that day. Probably that day it may be raining, and it may be coming to the exam hall. There are so many things. Also the sitting arrangement, sitting position of the reference to the type of chair allocated to the candidate. I remember times you go to a certain exam halls and then the chair that's giving you is even it's not in good shape. It can affect your performance because it wouldn't make you comfortable. So like we said, health condition, the nature of the exam hall, nature of the weather on the said day, sitting position in particular refers to the type of chair allocated to the candidate. Then we also have those factors that you can do something about, that include the level of your preparation, your confidence, the independence, and discipline in the exam hall. Let's take them one by after the other. Level of preparation. So how well prepared are you for your exam that you're about to write? Have you actually learned well? Have you done your best to prepare for the exams? That is the question. That is this factor. So, how best are you prepared? Have you been sleeping over your books, or you've been doing justice to your books? Remember that in examination or in school, those who actually do learn many of the time do get their desired results. Then confidence. Now, this confidence aspect talks about fear and overconfidence or complacency. Don't be too confident that you can do everything, and don't fear that you cannot do it. Just have enough confidence to be able to write your paper. That is to say that don't underrate any paper or any form of subject in the exam that you write. Don't say that this is too cheap, I can easily do it. Don't also say that I cannot do it. Any of such, that is complacency, thinking you can overdo it, you end up deviating. Whereas having fear can also affect you. They are just like the normal exam you've been writing, only that this one is usually a national or a subject-based exam. So that is the only difference. Then also independence. Now, in this factor, I'm trying to talk about you having in mind that what you're going to do, or whatever thing that you're going to do, is going to be based on yourself. So before you go to the exam hall, you know that you are going to do everything on your own. You're not going to depend on anybody. So even before this factor, independence can affect the way that you prepare. Yes, if you think that you are going to get help, you're not going to prepare well. So have in mind that you are independent and you're going to do the things or the paper yourself. Then you also have discipline in the exam hall. That is how you conduct yourself in the exam hall can affect your performance. Yes, there are some people, as soon as they get to the exam hall, they tend to look around for help. Better still, they bring their war materials. Some claim to use foreign materials in exams hall and all those things. Those things can go a long way to affect you, because so far as the rules of the examination forbids these external materials, when you bring them, it will definitely affect your confidence. You then begin to be afraid when an invigilator is even passing by. You begin to be afraid, you'll be shivering, and it can affect your whole performance. So all these factors, you can do something about it. Your level of preparation, confidence, independence, and then discipline in the exam hall. Now let's quickly go to the major steps to pass your exam. Number one of the steps is read instructions slowly, carefully, and attentively. This point is very, very important to every candidate. Most of the time, students don't like reading instructions. I remember back in the days at the University of Cape Coast, our lecturer, when we were doing a course called algebraic thinking, when we entered the class, we were given a test, and the test was the first interaction with the lecturer. He gave us a test, and he gave us 2 minutes to finish 20 test items. So 2 minutes for 20 test items, you will definitely be in a rush. So at the end of the day, almost all of us failed because we didn't read the instructions. So the instruction was saying that we should answer only question 5 in the test item. So all the things that we're trying to do we were just deviating. So at the end of the day, we would have failed that exam. So we have to read instructions slowly, carefully, and attentively. Good. Next, we have to, especially in the theory questions or the theory section, we have to read all questions in the theory section before we start. Good. So before the start, usually section B or part 2, make sure to read all the questions in order to determine which of them may be suitable to begin with. Good. Then also it's also best to start from the questions that you can answer best. Start from those that you can do well. Don't go and start from those that you cannot do well. I'm talking about this because of the carryover effect. Yes, that we have or we experience sometimes in marking. So please, if you are doing your exams or answering your papers, answer those that you can answer very well in the beginning. Start with those ones. Yes, start with those ones. Then the next one is let your handwriting be legible. Please, if you have a bad handwriting, try to write one after the other, one by one, one by one. It's very boring and very difficult to get the meaning of what someone has written, assuming the person's handwriting is not clear, right? And no marker will waste time to try to deduce what you have written, because usually the number of sheets you mark determine how much you are paid. So definitely, logically, everyone will try to mark as many as possible. So if the person cannot read your writing, forget it, you are failed. Try to write well. Let your handwriting be legible. Let your handwriting be legible. Good. Then expect help from no one. Don't expect any form of help from no one. This can affect how you prepare. So please don't expect help from anyone. When you are not expecting help from anybody, you tend to focus on your preparation and do it well as expected. Also, you should not rush, but you have to work within time. Good. Note that if you are rushing, you make a lot of mistakes. Yes. So ensure that you do the work diligently, do it within time, do it and write it well. Also, we also have to read over our work to check avoidable mistakes. In fact, there are some mistakes that are avoidable. So in order to avoid such things, we have to read over our work, assuming you have finished writing an essay or even a mathematical